supervisor and a teacher trainer. And he's got certificates such as the International Leader in Education and Educational Technology Instructor, amongst others. So please put all your questions, as Steve said, in the chat, and I'll note them down and ask them to him at the end. If there's time, we'll be able to unmute for a few questions as well. And I'd like to hand over now to Mouhamadou. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Linda. Thank you, Steve. And good afternoon, everyone, from wherever you're joining us. So let me tell you that it's a real pleasure to come back here for another webinar with you. I hope we're going to have a nice time together about how to integrate learning in a learner-centered way. Thank you so much, Linda. So now, without further ado, I'm going to talk about my objectives for this webinar, and I hope that I will do my best to reach these objectives. First of all, we'll discuss how technology will help classes become more learner-centered. So this is the reason why we're having this webinar. And in the second point of our objective, we'll give you practical examples of learner-centered technology that you can use in the classroom. And for the third part, we're gonna talk about how to motivate we teachers, to try out everything we'll be learning here. Thank you so much. Over to you, Linda. Next. So without losing any time, so I would love you to we talked about this first question because we need to know a lot about technology. So the question is, what is learner-centered instructional technology? So I would love you to think about these questions. So in the chat, you can tell me what is learner-centered technology, and if you can give me some examples in the chat, that would be wonderful. So we can go. Using group chats, games, apps. Great. Right. All right. Wonderful. I can see that you totally know what is learner-centered instructional technology. Now, I have proposed you some definitions of the concept. Next, Linda. So the objective of the learner-centered technology, instructional technology, is to empower individual learners to actively. So learners individually can be able to actively participate in the learning process. That's one of the most important thing that we can have in an instructional EdTech. The second point that we can have that is so important is students are responsible for their own learning. So they decide what to learn. I think that is very important. And that's why we have the name learner-centered. And the last point that I have proposed you is that teachers will effectively know how to utilize their time, their efforts, and their resources. So all this combined will make your classroom learner-centered with the use of technology. Thanks. Next, Linda. Now, I would love to think over this, because when we talk about learner-centered, the definition, now let's talk about the resources, because we all come from different contexts. So I need to know the resources that are available in your respective contexts. So in the chat, you will tell me what are the instructional technology resources that you think are available in your teaching context. Okay, let's go. You can post your answer in the chat. Interactive board, yeah. What else do you think might be available in your context? Yeah, computers, smart board. Mhm. Phone apps, yes, phone apps and computers, because we all have phone apps in our context. Very good, guys. I can see that you understand what I mean. So I have proposed you some of the EdTech technology that can be available in context. Next, Linda. In most of our contexts, we can use SMS. I know that you actually know what we're talking about. We have Facebook, Twitter, and all these apps, interactive platforms can be used in the classroom to deal with a learner-centered class. I will give you practical activities. Don't worry. Next, Linda. You can also have gadgets because, apart from apps and platforms, you can have gadgets. So some of you mentioned in the chat, computers, tablets, TV, DVDs, smartwatches. I'm sure that, you can have most of them here. And you can have also applications, as you mentioned, like Google Apps, uh, Open Office, Apple Softwares, something like that. So before I give you practical activities, I would love you to think about one online platform next, Linda, so that, in the next slide, we're going to talk about that. So I would love you to think about one online platform. I have given you some in the previous slides. Can you think about one online platform or application that is accessible and that you have used, and tell me how it has helped your learners? Can you give your comments in the chat so that we can share? The hood, Mentimeter. You can tell how it has helped your learners. How did WhatsApp, Mentimeter, Kahoot? How do you think it helped your students? Actually, can you precise? See, so yeah, right, great. I can see good EdTech. Telegram. Telegram, yeah. Can you share with us how it has helped your learners? How? Yeah. All right. I can share my screen. Yeah, of course. All right. That's wonderful, right? That's wonderful. So I think I will share some ideas with you. Next, about some apps that I have used. Next, Linda, thank you for your wonderful inputs. Actually, in my case, I have once used among the EdTech that we have previously mentioned. I have used the Google Docs and WhatsApp, as most of you. Google Docs is a collaborative online platform, which is very, very useful. Actually, you can use it for many purposes. I used it once with my one of my colleagues from overseas, and we had kind of pen pal activities where we could write letters. Each school will write a letter to another school, and we were actually using our language, like French here in Senegal, and my colleagues for their students, they were using their language, so they're using French and we're using English. So we wrote them letters in English and they reply in French, because the purpose was for them to practice their French and for us to practice the English. And what is wonderful in that, as it is collaborative, you don't need to be actually in class or together. They can even stay home and share the email of the Google Doc, and they can stay home and do the work together, collaborating. And what I feel when they're doing it is it sounds more interesting. You can see them in their face that they feel interested in what you're doing. They feel excited. It's like, they don't want the class to stop. Different from a traditional classroom where they can always check their words and say, time is up, teacher. But here you can see they are involved, deeply involved until the end of the time. So I can guarantee you that it's very interesting when you use it in class. So that was one idea, and I will share more with other EdTech tools. Next, Linda, so that we can. Yes, and actually you can find a lot. I forget to mention that you can find a lot of ideas about how to use EdTech in the British Council website. You can find many results over there. So do not hesitate to go there. And yes, you can also share your ideas before I start. Can you share your ideas in the chat group to about how you have used one of these tech tools that you mentioned a while ago? Linda, previous slide, please. Can you share in the WhatsApp group your ideas on how you have used one of the tech tools that are available in a context so that we can learn from each other? Has anyone here used once an instruction technology in his classroom? And can you tell us how? And how did it go? Padlet, yeah. And how did it go? How did it go? Mhm. All right. Anybody else about any ed tech that you have used in your classroom? Great. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. More interesting. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Share the ed tech tool that you have used and how did it go for tongues and right? Yes, you too for tongues and right pronunciation. Yes. Mm-hmm. Great. What else? WhatsApp, yeah, WhatsApp will definitely come to WhatsApp later on. Great, great. I can see that you have great ideas. Wonderful, guys. So next, so that we can have more particular activity. Yes. So I saw someone mentioning something about WhatsApp. Yeah. Actually, I have gathered here 4 of the edtech tool that we can use because I have noticed that in our context we have these edtech tools. They are more available in our context. That's why I have chosen them. So for the WhatsApp, we can have, because actually the thing is not to just keep WhatsApp, for the classroom. That you can use it actually outside the class. So you can have group discussions after reading a text, maybe after studying a text in class. You can after that have a group discussion where you may talk about the reading itself, about the characters, the plot, the story. Yeah, you can have a number of questions. And it would be great here if you organize your WhatsApp group in such a way that you will have leaders. You will have a leader of the WhatsApp, because it's a classroom, virtual classroom. It's better if you can organize in such a way that you have someone in charge of the vocabulary, someone in charge of summarizing the story. You can call it the summarizer. And someone may be the connector. That person will be in charge of connecting the story that you have or the reading that you have studied to the real life context. This will be great. And believe me, it's interesting. You won't regret it. Another app that you can use because it's available in our context, it's X, like Twitter, X Twitter. Presently, since most of the students, they are very available on Twitter most of the time. So you can ask them to summarize the news on Twitter. This way they will learn how to summarize and the others can comment on the news that their fellows have just posted. This is interesting too. And with Kahoot, I believe that most of you know about Kahoot. Kahoot actually is very interesting. It helps you organize very competitive quizzes. So you can use for grammar, for vocabulary. So this is an activity that I have just shared with you. You can have actually vocabulary games with vocabulary cards. It's interesting. And Instagram also, since most of them they can use Instagram, so you can also benefit from that by asking them to do like image descriptions. They can just post the images and describe it, and others can comment and say if the description is okay or if they need to add something. That's interesting, believe me. So these are 4 among all the apps that I previously shared with you. I just wanted to give ideas, and I know that we might have a lot of ideas from you. So next, Linda, Next, I'm gonna share with you some practical activity that you can ready to use that you can use right away tomorrow in your classrooms. Actually, I have three of them. The first one that I want to share with you and that can be available is what we call an online listening. So you don't need to go any further. So just go to the British website where you can have hundreds of podcasts available for you. So ready. So you can just, as it's called online, so you need to have Wi-Fi or data connection in your classroom. So just ask your students to go directly to the website. There they can have a number of podcasts available. And since we talk about learner-centered, so we're not going to choose for them. So ask them to choose the podcast they want because we say learner-centered. And then in pairs, they can choose and then maybe listen and try to summarize the main point of the podcast. This is very interesting and learner-centered, and you can have it online. So the correction, so all the class will might have the correction together. It's very interesting and very easy to do. I hope you know it is. Next, Linda. The next one I want to share with you is about writing. As most of us struggle in teaching writing to our students, actually we can do it with an EdTech tool, and this one is called Google Docs, and the activities is called a collaborative writing. So here it's very also easy to do, as you just need them to download the Google apps, which is available in App Store and Google Store. Once download it, and then they personalize it with their email, they sign in with the email, and that's all. So you can give them tasks that they can do to enhance, to improve their writing. And here I use a task called, they ask them to co-write. I ask them to co-write. Since it's a collaborative tool, so I ask them to co-write a short story. Yes, this is interesting because once they download the app, they can, as I told you, stay home. So they not to be together in class or stay somewhere together. So they can just stay home, share the work with the email, and then they can write. They can co-write the story. So they can correct, they can add sentences, they can do whatever they want with the story in groups, because they have shared the email using this. So it's very interesting. And in the correction, they can just come in class, and then they can present if you like. If it can be an interview, like they can ask, you can ask them to create an interview with someone you think is very important in their country, or someone they know, and then they can create that interview, which is very interesting and which will help them collaborate using the tool. It's very interesting. Next one that I want to share with you. Next, Linda. Next one, this is also a Google app. It's called the Google Slide. It's really an equivalent of PowerPoint, though they do the same work. Actually, it's also very interesting to use these tools, and you can use it for group projects. Let me give examples. Along the year, you might have festivals like Christmas, like Black History Month, like Karate, like Idol Fitr, Idol Kabir, all those festivals that you might have along the year. You can actually use the opportunity to ask them to work in a group and give them projects. So here in my case, I have used the Black History Month, and I organize them in groups. I assign them the task to choose Black figures. First, we brainstorm about historical Black figures. They give me the name that they think are for them most, important Black figures. And then I assign them, each of the group, one Black figure. They go home, they do research, and then they prepare a project. It can even be a kind of poster, so they can post pictures, writings, and everything. And the presentation can be due in person in class. And believe me, it's interesting. It's learner-centered. and it's interactive too. So they will like it, and you can try it, next Christmas if you like. This is it. So thank you so much. Next, Linda. So I would love, after sharing with you my activity, I would love you to share with you about some of the activities that you can see in the British Council platforms, because I don't know if you know it, but most of the resources that we need are already available there. You can see webinars over there and articles and everything, so that might be useful. So I have gone there and picked up maybe some of the activities that I have used that I want to share with you. And that's interesting. There were a number of interesting activities, so I couldn't finish them all. I have just chosen 3 of them. And the one I have used here is the one related to WhatsApp group. So it's called WhatsApp Interactive Activities. And the presenter here in this webinar was sharing about different activities that we can use in WhatsApp. And she proposed a very interesting activity, actually, right? And that activity, thank you, Linda, that activity was about like to have a game with students. And the game was called On My Angle. So what she proposed was just students to take a picture of an object they think is very special to them. But they don't take a simple picture like this. So they take the picture from an angle. So that's what I know. It might be difficult to guess what the object is. And then they post the picture on the WhatsApp. So the others just have to ask questions to guess what the object is. So it's very interesting. They will learn. They will practice asking questions and guessing. It's very interesting, and you can do it anytime you want it in your WhatsApp. Because for her, what is important is not to keep WhatsApp only for homeworks. Yeah, because we usually use WhatsApp only for homework, but for her, it's very useful and interesting to use WhatsApp out of class, at home for the activities. And I have also picked up another interesting one, because in my choice, I was caring about the accessibility of the tool in our context. And one among the activities, the webinar that I have viewed, there's one like a clip chat activity, very interesting too. In this activity, the presenter was just showing how you can use a video with your students to have a very learner-centered EdTech activity in class. So what she does was just to take a video. So here, the video must be short. I will come to how to use a video. So she recommended that we use short videos. So what she does is just to post the video, and the students will be telling the story behind the video. So she will play, pause, play, pause. So between the plays, so in the pauses, she will ask questions to students so that they can describe the story, describe what's going on online, the story. So you see, it's very interactive, and they it's like they are their own teachers, because they create what they learn. So this is one aspect of teacher learner centered activity, and that's very interesting. The other one that I want to share was that one that presenter sharing with us about how to use videos. Actually, I learned a lot from her, because before viewing the webinar, I was sharing videos. I was using videos the way I think was the best one. But when I viewed her webinar, it was interesting, because she recommended not to use long videos, but just short videos. So not only short, but interesting, meaning a video that you think might interest your learners. So it's interesting to really to know how to choose them. And she has also shared with us some interesting websites or YouTube channels where you can find interesting videos. I guess if I'm not mistaken, there was one that it really helped me because I went there. It was 60 seconds, 6 seconds. So videos are the length of the videos are for 6 seconds. So it's very interesting and short. You can use it in the class. And BBC documentary is another YouTube channel where you can get short documentary from the BBC that you can just download and bring into your classroom and do that activity like the clip chat with your students. So these are some of the webinars that I have viewed and I wanted to share with you because not only they were related to technology and also related to learner-centered, because here we see that the learner is involved and it's like he's doing what he wants to do. And I recommend you to go to the website and you can find more resources there. And that's where we go in the next slide. Next, Linda. In the next slide, so here it's more about sharing also, but here it's technology, but with IA. And in this, all these videos and webinars can be found actually in the British Council webinar. You can just go there. So I wanted to share with you these so that you can just view them after the webinar. And I'm going to just summarize them very quickly for you. The first one is the one with Gary, not Gary, the one with using ChatGPT. Yes. So here the presenter is sharing with you about difference of activity that you can use with ChatGPT actually, and how to use ChatGPT. ChatGPT is covered everything, so you need to know how to ask questions to ChatGPT, the perfect questions, and to have the activity that you need to use in your classroom. So in this video, he will give you excellent tips that you can use for you to be able to have ChatGPT in your classroom effectively, right? In the second video, like co-designing language learning, this one is very interesting because as we were talking about learner-centered, in this webinar, we have actually 3 presenters. And what they do is to show us how we can co-design learning with our students. And the presenter here will show you that with IA, you can co-design, because actually the thing is not to make people believe that, we can get everything from ChatGPT and stay silent, but we need to ask our students to reflect, to think, to give their ideas so that we can gather all those ideas to be able to have a good lesson from IA. So he recommended not to just ask ChatGPT to do everything for you or for your students, but first to have a kind of brainstorming where you can ask your students to think over the activities that they need to learn, and then before the lesson begins, and then you can use ChatGPT, right? So it's very interesting. I recommend to watch it. The next one is about 3 teachers, one from Egypt, one from Indonesia, and the other one, I guess, was from Argentina. Yes. And then they share about how to use EdTech activities, EdTech tools in your classroom. And the first one from Argentina, the lady that you can see in your left, she was using actually a very good activity, all in ChatGPT. So she will show you some tools like Gemini, so that you can be able to Gemini, Copilot, and ChatGPT. So that example, one activity that you share was about how to use interview questions, to teach them how to use interview questions in the classroom. So she will use the different tools, ChatGPT, Gemini, and Copilot, for your students to ask those tools questions, and then they will answer. So, but she recommended, she suggested that it's not very important, not very easy, because while you are using those tools, the question you ask to ChatGPT, the answers might be different from one tool to another. So that's why it's interesting to use all of them to have, a clear view of your activity, right? The other one from Egypt was actually sharing. That one was from Egypt. She was sharing about an activity about writing, descriptive writing. And sometimes we struggle teaching our students about how to write. So she, in this activity, she will teach us, she will share with us an activity that will help us do descriptive writing in our classroom, and using IA tools, right? And she will ask just students to go to the Play Store and download an image Microsoft Bing Creator. It's an application. I guess it's not available on iPhone, but I guess it's available on Play Store only, Google Store. So after downloading the application from Google Store, what the student do is just he ask them a question like a question, bring in the words to the image. Like the fact is very easy. So he will ask them maybe to design a living room or a room with all the materials in it. And the students will try to use the application to transform the words to images. It's very interesting. So because the role of the app is an image creator, so he just transform the words into image. And in the feedback, you will see that they will have different images from one student to the other, depending on their language proficiency, because they might ask IA something different and from their language proficiency, and they will have different images. And then the feedback will be, the correction will be the image that is, very close, most close to the original one. So it's very interesting. And the last one, I get that from the one from Indonesia. So it's very interesting too. He will share about how to use ChatGPT in the classroom. And that presenter will share about how to use ChatGPT in the classroom. I guess it was really interesting. I think he talked about how to integrate. Yes, I get it. How to integrate ChatGPT in the classroom. And in his presentation, he just uses quizzes. Quizzes is a platform where you can have questions. You can create questions like in Kahoot. And then there, he will just use quizzes to ask questions to his students. So what he does is to share the link with his students. He can use Google Classroom or any other platform to share the link with the students, and then they can just click the link and go to quizzes.com. There they can just answer the questions of the teachers. So this is also one way of using EdTech in the classroom. Yeah, you can have more resources on the British website. These are some that we just wanted to share with you. There's another one. Next, Linda. The other one is actually the one which is like a kind of introduction actually to the whole lesson, because in this webinar, so the presenter is initiating teachers on how to use EdTech apps and platforms with us. So in this webinar, Gary will talk about Mentimeter. I saw most of you mentioning Mentimeter in the chat. It's a very good tool for presentations, for quizzes. It's very interesting, very interactive tool. And Quizlet that you can also use for quizzes in your classroom, like Kahoot. And Padlet too. I saw some of you using it. Padlet also can be used to do a number of things, like having reading, posting pictures, posting videos, posting listening audios. So you can use it for a number of things in your classroom. And also using QR codes. Yes, you can use it instead of using links. You can use QR codes if you like. So Gary will come on how to use these tools, and Kahoot also. So he recommended, though, instead of, if Kahoot might not have all the features that you need, so you can just use Google Forms, because Google Form offers more features than Kahoot sometimes. So you can just maybe use them from time to time, the way you want it. So I recommend you to watch this webinar because it offers you an introduction of how to use EdTech in the classroom. So you can have a clear view of how to use EdTech in the class and about some of the platforms or applications that you can use to make your teaching more learner-centered and interesting. Yeah. Next, Linda. Now I want us we just take time to reflect on how it's because it's one thing to use technology in your classroom, but it's another thing to see to tell us about how does it impact your students. Does it help them to learn better? Does it help them to learn quicker? Does it help them to learn in a learner-centered way? So we just want to share about that. So for me, if I'm talking about me, in my point of view, I'll go for EdTech because it helps my learners feel more interested. So I feel like when I'm doing an activity based on technology, I see them they show interest. They show that they are eager to learn. They feel proud because they're doing the task themselves. I'm not helping, I'm just guiding, right? So they feel that they can develop collaborative skill that they didn't have. They see that they can share right now with their neighbors, maybe something they did not do before, which is interesting. And this is something that really pushes me to use EdTech more than I can. So I think, I would love you because these are my ideas. I would love you to take your time in the chat to share with us about your ideas about how your students feel when they use EdTech. So now let's go to chat and share with us. Okay, let's go. Want to learn with social media? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. More the way and the students, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. I think that you agree with me when you say that, they feel interested. Yeah, I think that we have the same feeling. It's a fun for them, so they love it, right? But we need to pay attention when we use technology because it's something that you need some requirements. That's what we're gonna have in our next slide. Next, Linda. It's very interesting to use EdTech, but we have to pay attention to some requirements that we need to bear in mind, to take into account. These are 8 tips that I want to share with you. So I want you to order them in the order of importance. So can you choose 3 most important for you, and then you put them in the chat. What are the 3 most important for you? You just tell me yeah, Zini, previous slide, yeah. 8, yeah, 3. 2, 3 that you think are the most important. 6 is important, yes. Always have a plan B, yes, plan B, of course. Because you never know. 1 to 6, yeah, 1 to 6, yeah. 8, digital citizenship, yes, teach them. And 1, yes, 1. Get parental. You need to have the school or the parental permission. It's important because for some application like ChatGPT, you need to be over 18 to use it. 1 to 6, that's great. And 3 too. Yes, wonderful guys. All of them actually are important. Thank you so much. Yes, very good. Now we are moving to the last slides. Next, Linda. Yes. Next, thank you, Linda. As we are coming to the end of the webinar, so I would like to us to take time to think about the takeaway tips because after the webinar, maybe we'll need to get the next Friday on Telegram to have a discussion, a whole discussion on Friday in the English Connect. Do you know the English Connect Telegram group? Yeah, I think, the British Council is gonna share the link later on with you. And because we have just learned about the tips about how to use the apps that we use and how to use them in the classroom to make learning centered. Now, the next step will be for you to use one of these tools with an activity that you will choose, and then you tell us in the Telegram. So WhatsApp is one of them. Edmodo. Edmodo is a platform, a collaborative platform too, where you can organize forums, questionnaires. It's very interesting. Kahoot, Instagram, BBC Podcast, Google Docs, Google Slides, or PowerPoint. So the point is, you choose one of these EdTech tools, and you try to use it. And then next Friday in Telegram, you bring your EdTech tool with your activity, and then we'll have a very interesting discussion. Yeah, so it's interesting. Believe me, it will be very interesting. So please, just to make it practical, let's try to choose one of these tools and prepare an activity and bring it to the Telegram on next Friday, right? Yeah. Thank you so much, guys, for attending this. I hope it was useful to all of you, and I'm ready for questions. So you can ask any question that you want, and I will try to answer you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Linda. Any questions?
Okay, thank you so much, Mouhamadou. Yeah, that was really interesting. And we had so much interaction in the chat and so many great ideas from other people. So it's so good to see everybody sharing all their ideas. I've learned new things. I learn new things all the time from everybody in the group. Like Seesaw, I'd never heard of. I've just looked it up and now I know what Seesaw is. Yeah, and the 60-second videos, which sounds like a great idea. So short, which is an excellent idea as well. Yeah, so lots of lovely tech ideas, especially maybe Google Translate. That was what somebody was saying. Great. Well, we've got a few questions already.
Okay.
Let's start with this one. Somebody asked, I think somebody from Zambia, how do we help students who can't speak? I think they mean low-level learners with ICT and learner-centered tech. So what about very, very low-level learners? Have you worked with them with tech?
All right. I think I mentioned an activity that is shared in the website. It's called descriptive writing from a lady from Egypt. I think that activity is for learners range 8, 9, 10 years. So I guess for elementary, primary students. So there he was teaching them descriptive writing, so the power of words. So the thing is, they just download an application that is called Microsoft Bing. It's an image creator. And students are going to transform words into images. So the teacher will just show them an image, an original one, and then he will describe the image like it's a living room with a sofa, with a chair, etc. So she will describe it. And she will ask them to do the same with their image creator. So this way, they will just need the basic vocabulary that she had just mentioned, like sofa, chair, all the stuff, and then they create their own image. And this way, at the end of the class, the feedback will be just the picture that resembles the most to the original one will be the winner. And this is a great activity that you can do with those who are age 8, 9, 10, so primary students that can maybe speak English the way you want them to do that.
Okay, do the primary school students have phones though? Because I presume they don't have phones at school. They're too young, I think, are they?
I don't think so. Maybe you can use a video projector or something like that if you have that school. But for phones, I don't think so.
Yeah, because we do have to be really careful, don't we, with safeguarding. And you mentioned that ChatGPT is supposed to be used for people over 18 only. I've just looked up and checked, and it says it's not aimed at people. It's not supposed to be used by people under 13 at all. But people aged 13 to 18 should have parental permission.
Yes, entrepreneurs, yes.
to
Yes,
use it. Yeah. And I know there's lots of countries who are banning social media for under 16s
of
because of all
course.
the negative sides.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think it's actually a good idea to encourage them to use social media in class, in English classes?
Actually, not encouraging, but just maybe selecting, because the teacher, you need to be careful. Like the tips that you mentioned, safeguarding is very important here. So you can, depending on your country, you can see the application or the social media that is used the most. Because maybe in my country, boys, they use a lot Facebook, they use a lot Instagram, like so. I know that if I use this app in my class, I will reach them all because I know that they definitely have them on the phone. But what I do is teaching them what we call digital citizenship. So before using the app, I give them the advantages and the drawbacks of the app, so that at the end, I think I'm even helping, because I know before the end of the classroom they will quit using Instagram the other way and using it right now the best way, because they know how to use it, because we have activities in class. So I think it's the best way to do that. So choosing it, but driving them from using it in a very bad way to using it in a more responsible way, on from what the activity that you do with them, and the kind of sensitization that you do to them. That might be interesting.
Okay. I do think there's going to be problems anyway with social
Yeah,
media. We
of
do have to
course. We can help.
control and
Hmm.
check, and
Hmm.
especially to keep everybody safe.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
yeah, you were talking about ChatGPT, and there are other negative sides, of course, aren't there? That, for example, cheating on ChatGPT AI, and
Yeah.
also the high carbon footprint. Remember, we talked about that, and I don't think many people know about this. That the carbon footprint of generative AI, like generating pictures and videos,
Um,
is so high. It's going to
yeah.
destroy the world
Yeah.
if we don't destroy it already.
Very interesting, I'm telling you. Actually, it's the other side. So AI is dominating the world, so we cannot help using it, because it's very interesting. It helps us really do the job easily, the way we want it, and it just generates what you ask him to do. But the problem is, for the AI that can generate pictures or video, you need to have the paid one, because the free one doesn't have that, the free version, the free version cannot generate pictures for you, so you need
There
to
are
have.
some free AI that generates pictures, but I
All
think
right.
you need to use that sparingly and just be careful with the prompts to go to what you want as soon as possible, I think.
And videos too.
Video as
About video.
well. There are free
Yeah.
ones, yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, that's good. So you might
Yeah.
share with them, because I tried but I couldn't find that.
And remember, we talked about the languages as well, and we looked
Hmm.
up the languages that ChatGPT has, and we found Wolof, didn't we, from Senegal? And we
Yes, of
found
course. Yeah.
lots and lots of other local
Arabic.
African languages on there,
Yeah.
which is excellent.
Yeah, interesting.
And I think this is another point for the level learners. They can
Hmm.
do actually more using tech,
Yeah, yeah.
using their own language as well, can't they?
All right, yeah, that's good. Wonderful.
Another question here. Um,
Hmm.
There's been lots of studies about people using technology in class, and people
Hmm.
are using it more in class, but
Hmm.
it doesn't mean that students are speaking English better. What's the relationship between using tech and speaking English better? Does it help them?
The relationship is using it effectively. So there is using it and using it effectively. And I think I share with you some activities where you show at the end of the activity that they will have learned a lot, they will have spoken, they will have written. It depends on the way we use it. Let me take an example. Just take a simple case like a video game, video use. So you can traditionally use a video and tell them watch it, and then maybe after you give me your feedback. This might be interesting, of course, but it's different from an activity where you can just maybe play the video, make pauses, and ask them questions that they have to answer depending on the parts of the video that you have shown them. This is different. This is different also when you have a reading activity, where actually that you can post the reading, they read the reading, they read the text, and at the end they can discuss about maybe the characters of the text, They can maybe think that what they would do if they were one character in the text. So this enhanced speaking, this enhanced critical thinking, and if they do that very often, for sure, there's no way they cannot develop their English. So I think that there's using it effectively. I think
I
that's
think you're
the
right about the motivation as well.
yeah,
We've got to motivate people to use English in the real world, and I think this
yeah.
can really help that. Yeah. What do you think? Another question here. What do you think is the best way of helping students not to misuse the technology?
Yes, very important because the problem is that technology is everywhere, so it's not easy to not ask them not to use it because even if you cannot control it at home, they will use EdTech. So the thing is, you have to teach them about digital citizenship. So how to use it? Because the thing is, technology has come very quickly, so it has covered the world all of a sudden. That's why we didn't have time to think about how to, use it effectively. That's why the teachers of today need at least before using any edtech tools in class, just before that to have a time talk to students about how to use it effectively. Tell them that Instagram is good for posting pictures, but Instagram can help learn a lot. You can post your information on Telegram. You can post pictures and have, activities talking together. All those stuff can be used done with all those social media. But the thing is just to tell them that there are a number of ways of using the social media, but choose the best ways, the way that can benefit you more than the ways that can just maybe a kind of leisure for you. So teaching that digital citizenship might help really know at least how to use that ethic because it's covering us all, you don't know even how to use it. So
And
it's not easy, but
maybe the parents need to be involved as well, don't they, in
yeah,
checking? Yeah.
yeah.
There's another question here about parents. How can you convince parents to allow students to use their devices in
Mhm.
class and to bring
Yep.
them to class?
Good question. Just the past week, I had a problem because I always start when the year begins. I always tell them, try to have a phone, download WhatsApp, download Google Mail, Google Docs because I might be using them. But sometimes I have feedback from parents. Parents might be saying, "Oh, tell your teacher that I'm not gonna give you a phone." So tell him. So the student can come, oh, teacher, I don't have a phone because my father said he's not gonna give me one. I always try to have a call with the parents because I know that I need to convince him because he's right, right?
Mm.
So when I call him, what I tell him is, your boy or your girl in 2 or 3 years after high school, he's gonna go to the university or he's gonna travel overseas. There, for sure, he will see a smart board. There, for sure, he will see PDF documents. The teacher might come and send them the file through WhatsApp. So, or ask them to send an exercise on Gmail. So, what is gonna do? So my objective, my task is just to help him know all these, but safely. So I promise you, I will do my best for them to have a safe use of the app or the platform. But they
Okay.
do need it. So I always, finish by convincing them. I never have the problem because when I talk to them, they know that I'm right. So they
Mm.
say, okay,
Yeah.
now I'm
And
gonna
then
use
the parents need to do their part as well, I think, don't they,
yes.
to carry
Yeah,
on
and I understand that too.
supervising them. Yes.
Yeah.
A good comment in the chat now. Effective
Mhm.
supervision is essential in the
Mhm.
usage of technology. You're right.
Mhm.
I've got one more question from the chat. How about how can you be inclusive with this? Can technology help students with disabilities in class?
Yes, because it depends on countries. Because in most of the countries, African countries, we might not have a school where we have all those categories of students. Students with disability, they have their own schools. Taking about my country. So they have special schools, so special teachers, special edtech tools that they can use. So there's no problem. In our schools, public schools, all the students are maybe the same. They may have some problem of eyes, but at least they can see or talk or at least write. So we don't have the problem. But I guess that in most of the tools that we have, there is a way that you can use it for someone who cannot maybe see, because there's a voice feature that you can use maybe to express yourself instead of writing. So I guess that you have just to activate that feature of the application or platform to allow your students with disability to be included, to be involved in the classroom.
Because it actually helps, doesn't it?
It helps, of course.
Speech to text to speech apps, and that
it
actually
helps a
really
lot.
does help with some of the disabilities.
Yeah, of course, I think so.
Okay, I think that's all the questions, all the main questions we had. If anybody has any more questions, then of course take them to the Telegram chat group on Friday. And then any more questions that you have, you'll be able to ask Mouhamadou, who'll be there as well. And try out some of those tips as well. Try out some of those things and discuss about them afterwards. And thank you everybody for sharing all those excellent tips.
Yeah.
So, and thank you, Mouhamadou.
Thank you, Linda. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for the collaboration. I appreciate it, really. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you
very much,
all.
Mouhamadou.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for sharing your expertise.
You.
And all these insights. I think you've shared so many resources today, so many resources from the Teaching English website. Guiding teachers through this platform that has tons of resources that they can actually utilize in their teaching. I also want to thank everyone who joined today, and I hope you will actually Mouhamadou has encouraged you to actually take these ideas forward and experiment experiment with the tools, see how much impact you can actually get on your learners. So thanks so much for joining, everyone, and thanks, Linda, for the impressive hosting. And then we see you on Friday next week, obviously, for follow-up, where Mouhamadou will actually kind of dissect a bit more these tools, and then share potentially other ways you can use all the technology around teaching and learning.
All right,
bye for now, and take care. Happy
Friday.
Saturday.
Take care. Thank you,
Bye, everyone. Thank you,
Steve, Mouhamadou, and all the participants. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
And see you on Friday. All right.